Good evening, Jan Roberts from South Africa, continuing with the self-care series. I'm a little bit later than last night, but that was due to the local power cuts, load shedding as they call it. Give it a name, but power cuts all the same, so we had no option to do anything. And today I want to really continue about what I talked about yesterday. Yesterday I talked about communication, and today I want to talk about the value of listening. Now, I mentioned it very briefly last night, and communication is not just about talking, about sending messages and emails, but it's also very much about listening, about not talking, if you like. So the most basic of all human needs is the need to understand and the need to be understood. The best way to understand people is to listen to them. And that was a quote by Ralph Nichols. Now, listening goes beyond hearing. Listening is hearing to understand. Another quote actually comes to mind here from the late Stephen Covey, who says, "Understand before being understood." And that is very interesting, and many people know it, but how many people actually practice that? Because we utilize this particular skill every single day, we often take it for granted. Developing our listening abilities can have a tremendous impact on our lives. Hence why I do this on self-care as well. How well we listen can greatly influence our relationships and our ability to succeed. How much less stress would it be on your life if that would really help you? And the good thing is, skill is also a skill. Listening is also a skill which can be learned. But poor communication skills are often the cause when we fall into our personal and professional relationships. Listening is the key component of communication. See, that's why I wanted to tie it in with communication today. See, when we misunderstand the people around us, it is often because we are not listening closely. This is true when we're talking to a co-worker as when we're talking to our spouse. I mentioned that last night, by the way. When we listen effectively, we improve our ability to connect with and understand the people that we interact with in our day-to-day lives. How important is that really? How important can we make it? How much more value do we put on connecting properly, and how much less stress and strain and misunderstandings we have just because we listen better? But the vast majority of us always overestimate our own listening skills, as I mentioned as well, and underestimate those skills in others. Now, here's the thing. If you had to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, of course, and 1 being low, how high would you score? If that's not interesting enough, would that rating be the same or close enough to the way our family, friends and colleagues would rate us? It'd be a wonderful exercise if you did that, to find out what they would rate you at, if they were honest enough as well. But I personally never had a problem talking, just a challenge shutting up. And on my continuous personal development journey, I came across coaching many years ago, which positively impacted my life. I studied it for 2 years to start with, and then I did another complete course by the amazing Christian Simpson, who is the coaching director, I call him, but the coaching mentor in the John Maxwell team, and has trained 30, 40, 50,000 people and plus to coach with an amazing program. But I learned how to ask questions because I started to listen better. See, I learned that great leadership comes down to building relationships, which you do by asking questions, which you can only do when you start to listen better. I learned also that when I was fully present, I started to surprise my coaching clients when I asked questions about things that they had not even mentioned. Listening is very powerful indeed. The impact of just listening to someone without commenting or giving advice, like us men are really good at, is so powerful it can save lives. In a world where more and more people are feeling isolated and alone, even in a crowd, it does wonders. Now, there are many benefits to being a great listener, And some of them are that you will have better relationships and less conflict. When you show others you care by listening to them and honestly sharing your thoughts, feelings and struggles, you will create a bond and a place for grace to live. Think about that. That's just one benefit. Then there is another benefit, and I kind of handpicked. There is many benefits. I handpicked these ones, but the reason is for the impact these have on your health. So the second one is that you will be healthier. Now there it comes. Staying connected strengthens your immune system and lowers the levels of anxiety and depression. Is that not worth learning to listen better for? Studies have also shown that it produces higher self-esteem, greater empathy, and creates a positive feedback loop of overall well-being. That alone should be worth, how do I learn to listen better? How can I learn this? Because we can all improve all the time. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. I know it's a cliche, but it's true. And then the third one I want to mention there is you will lower your stress levels. I've talked about stress a few times in different areas, even on stress itself. Well, Sean Achor, author of The Happiness Advantage, found that the people who survive stress the best are the ones who actually increase their social investment in the middle of stress, which is the opposite of what most of us do. Isn't that the truth? When we're under stress, don't we have an investment, a social investment by listening to people? When we're stressed out, that we start shouting and doing all kinds of things but listening? Now, there are many more benefits, but I'm sure you can already get an idea of how beneficial listening is to your health and well-being purely from these couple of examples. Now, I've also got some steps to follow to implement from today so you can become a better listener. And one of them is reach out to others. Do not wait for someone to reach out to you. Make the call, write the note, do something to show you care and want to connect. Choose someone today that you value and make a point to connect with them in a meaningful way. And that takes listening. The second one is, and I've touched it already because of my coaching practice and the coaching training I did for so many years, ask questions. See, when you connect with others, do not focus on yourself. Instead, put the focus on them. Prepare questions to ask them. Make it a point to find out how they are feeling and to understand their point of view. Now, this is, when you say prepare questions, this is different than just listening and being in a moment. But you can prepare questions you want to ask somebody, but also then it's very challenging sometimes to actually keep listening because you might think of the next question or you might think about something else to say because of what they said. Just listen. If they are going through a difficult time, acknowledge their struggle and ask how you could help them. Make sure you follow through with that help that you offered. Now, all of this has an impact in your life as well, because it's also about the feeling of significance. When you help others, you always feel good yourself. Quite often people, when you help them, they comment on it and thank you and all that kind of stuff. How good does it make you feel? How good does it make you feel when you can do something good for others? Because self-care, I know it's about self, but it's not selfish. And quite often you have huge benefits when you help others. Health benefits included, of course. If you know that feeling of significance, if you know what it feels like when you help other people and it makes you feel good, you know what I'm talking about. And sometimes it is just ask a question and then just zip it, listen, and listen some more. Not at the right times. I said already, us men are always good at giving advice because that's what we do with each other. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Great book, it tells you that women are from a totally different planet. But they very often, when they have anything to get off their chest, they just want us to listen. But us men are good at giving advice and we normally don't wait long enough. Learn some coaching. It is a great way to learn to listen properly. I can guarantee it and highly commend it. As a coach and mentor and trainer, I highly recommend that. Even if it's just to increase your communication skills. And then the third one is be inclusive. Strive to include others in conversations, causes, projects and learning groups. And then once they are there, set them up to shine. Look for ways to compliment them. Give them credit and add value to them. Now that's great leadership as well, by the way. Everyone wants to be part of something great. Now when we talk about being part of something great, our values-based leadership program, which is positively impacting entire countries and in which my partner and I, partner Artie Moore and I are both specialists, they cover this value and nearly 50 others in great detail. But what it also does is, when you're looking at a movement like transformation, we're busy with really involved and blissfully engaged with a transformation Lebanon. But when you get involved in something bigger than you, when people are coming together because they want to do more than just something for themselves, and that might sometimes be selfish because again it's about significance, it's about self-care. It is the most beautiful thing. It is absolutely amazing. I listen to these stories when we go into the values on a weekly basis, and I listen to these stories time and time again, and it fills my heart every day, every time we're at this. But there is so much more I can say about listening, but hope this actually gives you something to think about the next time someone you have a conversation with. Be a great listener. And you will be surprised how much better you both will feel afterwards. Remember, listening saves lives. It might even be your own. I will be back tomorrow with another session on self-care. Have an amazing rest of your day. Take care.